Do you have a worst gig that you look back on and cringe?
Oh, today. Down at Mad Hatters, I was doing a trick called paper balls over the head, where you've got a spectator sat down here, and the idea is you take a paper ball and you say which hand's it in, but you throw it over their head and it's like, it's vanished, ta-da. But I neglected to realise that there was a mirror at the very back of the room, directly in this guy's eye line. So he's just seen me go whoosh, straight over and just completely ruined the trick. Like, I've got to remember, look around the room, know what's going to mess you about.
Leicester Square every year. I die on my arse in that little room every time. I mean, you kind of like right off the bat. I've had a few, you know, when you start out, you're so up and down. I've had a few kind of bad gigs at the start. I tend not to die, apart from in Leicester Square.
The gig itself wasn't necessarily worse than any other shit gig, but it took 3.5 hours to get there. And they were like 4 students on their camera, like we're just on their phones, so you just see their face highlighted, but they want, for us to get paid, we still had to do our 15 minutes. So those 15 minutes just talking to 4 students who didn't care, and this guy working the cappuccino machine, like, smells louder than me.
I was once introduced with the phrase, you have to listen to the comedian, you can't have the free pizza until she's finished. So, I can't say that went particularly well.
In Handel Street in Covent Garden on February 10th, 2015. It's the first time I realized that I died on stage, and as I was dying I felt every single second of it. And I hated it, and it's what made me go like, this cannot happen again, this is unacceptable. It was just, this doesn't happen again, like, and it has happened again.
I got on stage, and it was one of those things where everything that could possibly go wrong went wrong. Everything. There was this really cool card trick thing that I was supposed to be doing. I dropped the cards and they went all over the floor. Then there was this giant card thing, the table collapsed and that fell. Then there was this other thing, this prediction thing that I was supposed to be doing, the tripod snapped, that fell over, kind of exposing how something was done. Then I went blank. And I mean, totally, utterly blank. I could not remember my name. It was just everything gone. And I'm looking out at this room with Spartan people, nobody looking at me, everybody looking at the food, somebody clicking at a waitress, and I'm thinking, I just want to get out of here. And then I realised I have another 20 minutes.
I used to do this finale where I would put a coat hanger through my earring hole and then hang all my clothes on it and finish naked, turn around, walk off, and everyone would see my backside. But it was pretty clean, but it was still a bit, risque, I suppose. And I got booked to do, I think it was the sort of the people in charge of the harbour at Harwich as a corporate gig, and I turned up and they were all in their 70s with their wives in these big round tables, and there was no compare and they couldn't have been less interested. And then I did the show, ended naked, and they just stared at me and were so, appalled, but so shocked and appalled. And then I walked off and got dressed and then came back, and I was being paid by the sound guy, and not realising sort of professional etiquette, he just said, "Oh, I've got to pay you," and they were all sat on their tables over there, and I said, "Oh, okay," and he just got a big wad of money out and just counted the money out into my hand in front of me, all these people watching me, and it was quite well paid because it was a corporate gig, and it was just such a humiliating and awful experience. I just took the money, held it like that, waved at them, and then walked out. But it was so awful, but funny because it was so bad.
I'd gotten cocky, and which I think you do early on before you ever die, which is why it's good to die quite early on. I'd say, just because you kind of stop yourself getting too arrogant for the whole thing. And I tried some new material, and none of it worked. Maybe like one line just about worked, and that was it. And then it kind of made me realise that I don't actually know how to write jokes. I just got lucky with the ones which I've written before. They happen to work. I don't know the rules of it. I don't know how you construct a good routine. I've just been writing stuff that I kind of find a little bit funny, that they don't actually transfer that well on stage. So because of that, I then it's the whole cliche. You learn more in failure than you do success, right? The more times you die, the more you actually learn about the craft of writing jokes. And from the times I've died, I have noticeably gotten better after each one.
It was at one of those showcases for the Fringe in 2013, it must have been, and we were the headliners. And we'd done one the night before that went brilliantly, but we got quite drunk beforehand and we made it really physical. We ended up on a woman's lap. I did a backwards roll off someone. It was bonkers, but it was really, really good. And for some reason we thought we could recreate that magic, so we got even more pissed, or I got more pissed. Gareth got a little bit drunk. I was just down in vodka backstage. And then we saw backstage, they had one of those big kind of supermarket sort of cages on wheels that's about, as high as a person. And I went, Gareth, wouldn't it be hilarious if we put you in there and wheeled you on stage from behind the curtain in this trolley? And he went, yeah, that's a great idea. So I went out when it was our turn to go on. I came out, pissed out of my skull, had no idea where I was. There was about 100 people there. And I just started shouting at them, but really aggressively. And then I went, oh yeah, there's another one. Dragged him out in this fucking cage. And by this point, people were walking out. So I went, no, stay where you are. And I belted it into the audience and started grabbed a woman by the shoulders and went, why are you going? This is art. This is rock and roll, baby. And she went, no, I want to leave. And then Gareth was just on stage in this fucking cage going, what has happened to my life? And then the compare had to come on and just go, right, stop it, guys. Okay, that's the end of the night, everyone.
2 weeks ago, I was gigging up at Kingston in a restaurant. I had an hour show while people were eating, chatting. No one was listening to me. I was just in the corner telling jokes. It was shit high.
One at 11 o'clock at night at a shisha bar full of Somalians who didn't know there was a comedy night happening. That was weird. Not only did they not know there was a comedy night happening, they did not appreciate a comedy night happening.
There was one in an army base where I had to be escorted out the back door because they called me a cunt before I got to the microphone. And then I was supposed to do 20 minutes or I wouldn't get paid. So I stayed there for 20 minutes just calling them horrible names, because I was like, they're coming at me strong, I'll come at them strong, and they'll calm down and realise I got this. So I came at them strong and they came at me stronger, and I went, I've got nothing left, and they just screamed at me for 20 minutes. And then at the end they were like, we're fucking finding you, mate, and I had to just leave out the back door while the show's still open.
Not very professional of me to giggle all the way through this, man.
I got hired to be the host of the 2013 UK Adult Film Producers and Babe TV Awards, where I was told I was going to be hosting as a comedian. I was going to get to tell jokes to the audience. And then when it actually started, the whole thing, I wasn't even introduced as the host. One of the girls that was just giving out trophies was introduced as the host, and the Spin in Rainer, where we were holding it, decided that they didn't want to give us the 2 hours that we had for the show. We only had an hour, so I had no time for any jokes and just had to introduce people and get off the stage. And that was a bit of a letdown, because I was expecting massive hilarity from porn stars and rich dudes.
Let's take something from it. And I think the bad gigs, you need to be honest with yourself and analyse what you've done, and not kind of think, oh, that person doesn't know anything about it, or I killed last week. Always be open to other people's viewpoints, and then look upon it. And if you think it's relevant, deal with it. If you don't think it's relevant, ignore it.
And I asked them for more gigs. They said, all right, we'll come and watch you the next one. So I went back to the same venue as well about 2-3 weeks later. I thought, I'm going to do it this time. And then I went on stage, and the crowd just couldn't connect with the crowd. And it weren't even it's one thing when you don't get laughs, but when the crowd are not even listening, they're just talking as if you ain't there. As if you're just standing there. That was the worst. And the other thing, I remember the stage was only small, and I had a bottle of water and I knocked it over. I could hear the water going glug, glug, glug. And I remember the audience picked it up for me. That was a low point for me.
I had the whole crowd, or most of the crowds, not into it, and they were sort of angry and giving me death stares, and that's fine, I enjoyed that. It's the gigs where you've got indifference. I've had one where they weren't upset but they weren't laughing. It was just like kind of, yeah, take it or leave it, and that's what I hate. That's a bad gig for me, when I haven't offended anyone or made anyone laugh.
There was a comedian who was so offensive. He was German, and I think his grasp of language wasn't very good. And he was trying to make all these jokes about child rape, and it was just awful. And it was so unbearable to watch that the promoter had to kick him off stage, and that was just awful. But we all started clapping when he was off stage because he was so offensive, and there was no wit or rhyme to it. It was just obnoxious. And we all left that gig like that was traumatizing how bad that was.
In the West Country, and I was having a really good gig, but then I kept asking this guy, what do you do? And he kept saying, I don't work. And I said, why are you looking so miserable, man? You look really like a really miserable guy. And he's just like, no, I'm not miserable, I'm in a good mood. And the audience were laughing, it was fine. But then as soon as the break came about, I went up to him and I was like, all right, bud, cheer up, yeah? Like in a kind of nicely kind of way. And he said, yeah, I didn't want to say to you when you were wrong, but I've actually got Parkinson's disease, and that's why I look like miserable, is because my face, the muscles in my face don't respond anymore. And so I felt fucking so guilty for going, why are you looking so miserable, you fucking prick?
But at the same time, you can't blame an audience. Like, you know, people find something's funny and something's not funny, and sometimes you can just be the wrong flavour of comedian for an audience, and you've just got to live with that. You can't please all the people all the time. It's worth trying, but you can't ultimately succeed in that endeavour, so you need to get over it. And by you, I mean me. So ladies and gentlemen, I give you Man. Bitten by a radioactive man, he has all the powers of a man. He has the strength of one man. Travels faster than a speeding man, provided the man in question is travelling at slightly below the average speed of a man. There's a lot of this. Possessed of fantastic mental powers, he can read your mind. If you use your mind, say the words that are in your mind. His fists are deadly weapons when they have guns in them. He can walk through walls, provided there is a door in those walls. He commands the loyalty of sea creatures. Impotently, they don't listen. He has X-ray vision in the hospital where he works as a radiographer.
Describe the feeling after a perfect gig, or just like elaborate more on that feeling you had last night after your Edinburgh show.
You just feel like it's worth it, and that this is what you want to do, and it kind of, because sometimes you have doubts when you're doing comedy, like, am I wasting my time, like, am I shit? And then when you have a really good gig, you're like, no, this is why I'm doing it, because I am good sometimes, and it will get better, and it's fun, and yeah, you just feel amazing.
You're getting a natural sort of, you know, injection of adrenaline, and just feeling elated and just, you know, pumped up like a boxer, and kind of just like, yeah, you know, just really positive. And I suppose that's why comedians go back to, you know, just keep doing it, because you get that every now and then you know, you kind of get addicted to it, I suppose.
It's just the best buzz.
That's cool.
And it's not a guilty buzz either. It's not like a drug buzz or a buzz you get from having a fight. It's an innocent buzz. It's totally, no one can deny you that buzz.
It's amazing. It feels like I've just taken drugs and I've got this high, like the first time I ever took drugs, and I was trying to chase that high ever since, but I don't do that anymore. But yeah, it's great. It's like, wow, yeah, it's good. That's why I think it hits me so hard when it doesn't go well. I wish it could be like that all the time, but without the bad times, you can't feel. It's like the other side of the coin. You have to have the peaks and the troughs, basically. So it's an amazing feeling.
Likening it to a drug is probably pretty accurate, because not only is it a high, but you immediately want more. Like, you're so motivated. Like, you wish there were 10 more gigs you could do all that same night. And it is incredibly addictive. Even the lows are somewhat addictive, I would say. In those first few moments when you get off stage, when you've not done very well, you want to quit. Like, I've considered quitting so many times, and I've never even really had that bad of a night. And I'm like, sit in the audience afterward, and I'm like, oh man, what am I doing? I want to quit. But when you do really well, it is the exact opposite of that. You can't wait to go home and write more. Usually I get pretty shit-faced after. Actually, I get shit-faced either way.
As a magician, it's slightly different. As a comedian, when you get those applause breaks and all the rest of it, and you come off and you know you've absolutely rocked it, it's a slightly different thing. As a magician, when you get that what they call an FM ratio, when you see the audience going, fuck me, that's that whole sense of it's a different thing, but it's the kind of flip side to the same coin. Whereas a comedian, you get that sense of you're coming up in an ecstasy. As a magician, it's just that sense of this was worth it. This was I rock.
I guess it's kind of difficult to put into words, like, until you actually feel it, like the kind of euphoria that goes with it. And I can't remember if it was that gig or the second one I did for them, but I brought chocolate brownies along with me that I'd made myself. And the MC, before she brought me on, she was speaking to the audience in Italian, and she said something to them, and they all laughed, and then she was like, "Oh, and now Tom." And I thought, should I be worried about this? Like, what she said to them? And it turns out she said, "Tom's brought chocolate brownies for us, so he actually understands two things about the Italian people: one, that we love our food, and two, that we're all corrupt."
If you think you've achieved perfection, I think you're in the wrong work, because comedy is a live art form that's constantly evolving. Every time you do a bit, it's going to be a little bit different, and then when you watch it, I realised on my film of my show, I forgot one of my best jokes that night. That doesn't mean that it's an imperfect film and that I can't use the film, but it's like I didn't even know that I'd dropped two lines. Everything's always different because you're doing it then and there, so how can it be perfect? And if I were to say to you, what's the most perfect day you ever had? There's no answer to that. You can't find me one, can you?
I can think of like a few runners-up.
Exactly,
yeah.
Exactly.
Or I might just be going through a YouTube wormhole for the whole evening, just going between video to video to video, because my insomnia, my ADD won't let me sleep. I've got this buzz, I feel awesome. I've done 100 press-ups, I've gone for a jog with the dog, I've smoked 2 joints. It's just, who knows, the energy won't dissipate, and I think it's because of the energy that I got when I was on stage, doing really well, killing it.
When you smash it and everything's gone amazing, it's like, woo! Yeah, woo! It's really good. It is superb. It is amazing. It is better than, I'm not going to say better than sex, it is better than mediocre, unenthusiastic sex.
It's nice to be a room full of strangers. Just accept you. It's like, yeah, what are you doing? Oh my god, man, everyone likes me. There you go. It's like, but why do we care? Why should we care? Well, I don't know, it's nice. I don't know, man, I'm tired, Bobby. It's like a one-way monologue right now. You watch this and it's literally, this guy is fucking crazy. No, I'm knackered. Look on.
A sense of elation and happiness and a little bit horny.
Very well.
No, really horny.
You think, I'm going to do this, put it in the top corner, and you put it in the top corner, and you're like, yeah, but then for the next, 15 minutes, everyone's going, wow, you did so well, put it in the top corner, or, oh, when you put it in the top corner, like, that really made me feel good about myself, because I remember when I did that, and yeah, so that's the kind of feeling, I think, just an absolute buzz.
It's brilliant, and it's one of those things that motivates you beyond anything else. So you can have loads of different people being like, no, you're great, like, keep going, do this, and do this, and do this, and that doesn't in any way compare to just getting that, hitting a stride and just getting that high and just being like, wow, okay, I can do it. This is great. This is the fucking dream.
It's a recharge. It gives me energy, and it gives, but it doesn't. But it's also as quick as I drink it and then I throw it and I keep going. Do you know what I mean? Like, it doesn't stay with me too long. A great night will last a day, you know. And I hope that my negative nights are equally as, the expiration date, unfortunately, is longer on bad nights than it is on good nights.
But either way, it goes back to that 2-word phrase, you keep going, no matter what. You have a great set, you have a bad set, doesn't fucking matter. You keep going, because it's a long fucking road, and you just keep going.
Because when I got to America, they put me in a classroom called English as a Second Language. There were no Arabs there. It was me and 44 Puerto Ricans. I got home, my dad's curious. He goes, how was school? And I go, ay, papi. Mi profesora tienes más grande. Which means, oh, Dad, my teacher has huge boobs, Dad. She did. I learned English in 2 days. Nobody had trouble paying attention in big booby class. It's true. It made me think, if you want to fix the education system in America, hire strippers to teach math and science. Right? Screw you, China. I'll build my own iPhone. Thanks to Miss Cinnamon. Here's something they don't tell you when you move from Egypt to America. I didn't know this was going to happen. You constantly get accused of being gay. By your own dad.
Sucks that it takes a whole night in order to do 5 minutes of stuff. But if it's the only way I can do it, I'll do it. And now, luckily enough, after a while, I found places and people that are willing to. Are you gonna kiss me now? Because I could be. Like I'm not specifically saying no, I'm not specifically saying yes, I'm just saying you can try and we'll see where it goes.